So basically the main problem you have when you're trying to use a smart card reader under Linux or under macOS or under any other OS is the lack of standardization. The only stuff which is kind of a standard which is available is something called PCSC, and that's only available on Microsoft platform, so it's not really standard. Basically, when you have a reader, you have to program everything yourself. You have to program the serial port and exchange data directly with the serial reader, and you have to do it in your application. The result of this is that when people actually develop some hacks or some small applications that have to communicate with a smart card reader, they do it for their smart card reader, and they can't really share it with other hackers. So an alternative to that is something which is called PCSC Lite. It's a small subset of the PCSC API to Linux and different Linuxes and to macOS as well. This is something that is done by David Corcoran.
Stage 3 still going.
And it's actually kind of an abstraction. I'll talk a bit more about that later, but it's kind of an abstraction, so you don't actually, what you do is you talk to the daemon, to the PCSC daemon, and you don't really have to unload drivers. The drivers are part of the PCSC Lite distribution. Well, I did not mention that, but it's, of course, free software. You can have the sources from www.linuxnet.com, that is the URL at the end of the site. And you have the source of most of the drivers as well. So the way it works is quite simple indeed. That's just an abstraction layer that you access this layer through a standardized API. So what you do basically is that you just launch the PCSC daemon that scans for smart card readers on your system, then makes them available. You can have a list of available readers and so on. You can also access real smart card readers, readers that are plugged into different machines. And basically this daemon has the knowledge of how to unload drivers like WinCo or JBoss readers or stuff like that. So as I said, client actually connects to PCSC daemon and just exchange data with the daemon, not with the reader. The PCSC Lite API is written in C, but there's also a wrapper to use PCSC in Perl as well. That's what I'm going to demonstrate just in a few minutes. This is quite nice, I feel, because it is quite easy to write quick hacks in Perl when you just need to exchange data or question a smart card or whatever. Most of the time you don't want to program in C, allocate your memory and stuff like that. You just want a quick script language, so you can do it in Perl as well. And so I find it quite handy for hacking. So anything is available on that URL, http www.linuxnet.com. And well, that's all. If you have any questions, I can just go on and demonstrate with them. So yeah, as a demonstration, I have this little script I wrote. So basically that's just something that you learn in Perl. I'm using Perl GTK for the graphical user interface and PCSC Go for the communication with the smart card reader. So there's no reader plugin at the moment. So we can see that here. There's definitely no reader. So that's a USB reader. I can just plug it like that. And then the PCSC daemon will just recognize the reader. So do that again. Now we see that we got the demonstrator available, so we can just use it. You can try to connect to the reader So they put some coordinates. That's the employee dispatch of my friend over there. So now you can connect to a reader. It's connected there. And then you can open some scripts to some codes to send to the smartphone. So basically what this does is just sends the command to select the master file, then select some file under this master file and read it. So you can just run it and get the data here. And you can see the USB as well. See that's that's my phone. And well, that's it. It's quite easy. This one is a USB reader. That's not the reader I'm using at home. I'm just using a small, cheap cellular reader. But the same tool just works as well. And I also got the text-based interface to that one that can be used either on Windows, Linux, and macOS. It probably works for some of the users, but I haven't tried it yet, so it's quite portable indeed. So, that's all. Thank you.
Both in the hacking community and in the mainstream press about how the internet is going to be some great evolution and it's going to empower everybody and overturn empires. But when you look at how it's actually being used, you've got CNN.com dominating news traffic. You've got Yahoo News taking all their news from AP and Reuters. And what we're trying to do is combat that and say that we don't want the media to be controlled by a few people. We don't want a few people to get a say in what happens. If you look back at the introduction of other mediums, especially the radio stations, you had a lot of the same letters. It's important to understand what happened in the 1920s has the potential to happen again today. Everybody talked about how you have free radio stations and everybody can publish and everybody can get a voice, but when push came to shove, in all these countries, they set up artificial barriers that said, this is the spectrum of radio waves at which you can broadcast, and no one can broadcast in any other radio waves. It's an artificial barrier. I think here in the Netherlands, the broadcast range right below FM is actually dominated by military frequencies that aren't even used. So you can have a lot more radio stations. The point is they create artificial scarcity. And what we're trying to do within the media is use technology and use these programs to break that artificial scarcity that's being pushed onto the internet. Let's see, other things we need to mention. We of course develop all our software as open source technology, support free software. We've been actually here debating a lot of the different technologies. The initial programs are all done in PHP using Postgres, and we're debating moving to a Java servlet solution to expand more stability. The use and production of this technology is important to understand the effect it has.